Hi, welcome. My name's Karen Welton, and I'm interviewing Becky Koch. Thank you for being here with me today.
You're welcome.
So you had 3 amazing births, pain-free births, and I didn't know you at the time, but how did you first hear about pain-free birth?
Someone at church gave me Jackie Mize's book about supernatural childbirth, and I read that and believed for that.
That's how I first heard about it too. Her book ignited so many women to have faith for this. It really is a catalyst, I think. So tell me a little bit about your first birth.
Okay. I was 39 weeks and 2 days, 39 weeks, 2 days, and I had partial rupture of membranes and a little bit of fluid leakage, but nothing really progressed, no contractions or anything. I think I lost my mucus plug, but nothing else. And I called the doctor, the hospital, because it was in the evening, and said, do I stay home for a little while longer or should I come in? And they said, well, it's been over 24 hours. You should come in. And I said, are you sure? Because it's a blizzard outside. They said, yes. So we went in, and they induced me because it was amniotic fluid. And so contractions then started around 7. And there wasn't a whole lot really going on. I wasn't progressing fast enough. They broke my water between 10 and 11-ish. And then things started ramping up probably around 12. And then I was able to start pushing.
Okay.
But during this, I do think because it was my first, there was a little bit of fear of unknown, and I was a little bit inhibited. I was, I think, unintentionally fighting the contractions, so my body would just tense up and shake during the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And
did that hurt?
Not. I don't interpret it as pain. No, it just felt like really, really tensing up, like you squeeze your muscles really tight for a long time, and so it was so tight that I was shaking.
Wow.
But I don't think it was painful.
But it took you a while to kind of figure out how to work with your body and your contractions.
Yes, yeah. I didn't know how.
Because it's foreign.
Yeah, completely. And it was my first time staying in a hospital. It was all new to me.
Yeah. That's a lot of new experiences.
Yeah. So we had our Bible verses that, some of them were from the Jackie Mize's book. My husband would read those to me during some of the contractions and just periodically keeping me focused on what was the goal.
Yeah.
And then he was born at 2:27 in the morning.
Okay. So it's like a 10.5-hour labor. And what was pushing like for you?
I liked pushing.
You did?
I did.
You're one of the few.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it gave me some more to do, co-laboring to make more progress happen.
Okay.
So contractions, they feel like my body's doing some hard work, and by pushing, I'm able to actually do something to help it along.
Yeah. And were you pushing for a long time with your first?
2.5 hours.
That is a long time. Were you tired?
Oh gosh, and it was nighttime, so
and you're not a night owl.
No. Yeah, so I was really tired. So in between contractions, if I wasn't just calmly chatting with the midwife and the doctor, I would be nodding off in between.
Yeah. That's good you got that rest in between. Sometimes if you don't, it's I'm so exhausted. And that kind of pushing can be exhausting when you're really, forcing it for that long. It can get hard.
Yeah.
So you had a good birth, but, kind of just figuring it out. Yeah. So how was your second birth different from your first?
So much faster.
Yeah.
A lot less intense as far as, emotionally. I wasn't super intense emotionally with the first, but it just seemed like I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So it was a little more relaxed.
You knew what to expect. I've done this before, so that fear isn't there.
Yep.
So how did it start off? Your husband's a teacher. Tell me about how birth started.
Yeah, we were really hoping that it would start on a weekend. I didn't think I would make it to 40 weeks because I didn't with my first. So week 39, we're starting to pray for that weekend. And how many days? I was 39 weeks and
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
That's when she was actually born. So it was 39 weeks. One day was Sunday. we had prayed that whole weekend, this is going to be the weekend, it's going to happen.
You were believing for it. You had your faith on it.
Yep.
You wanted labor to start on the weekend.
Yes. We had really kind of hoped the baby would be born on the weekend, but if labor had started, that would be fine too, because we would be busy. And, my husband would have the weekend off, and then... But, so Sunday came, still no progress. I was grouchy, uncomfortable. That night I did my usual yoga thing that I did every evening and stretching, and I was really uncomfortable, like feeling some pressure. And I said to my husband, I'm going to bed.
Like, I'm done with this.
So went to the bathroom, got ready for bed, and I may have lost my mucus plug, I think. And something I just remember hearing in my mind, put an extra towel on the bed. I already had a pad, like a Chuck's pad on the bed. Put an extra towel on the bed. Okay. So I did. And I went to bed, and 2 minutes before midnight, my water broke. It was this loud pop that woke me up, and a gush across the bed.
Wow.
And I sat right up and I said, Chris, my water just broke. And he was like, are you kidding? Because he had just gone to bed.
I just went to bed. So inconvenient. Yeah. But that's what you prayed for.
That was it.
2 minutes before midnight, you got your answer. It's so funny how God does that.
He's funny.
So you said contractions started right away. What did that feel like?
Again, the hard work. I really early on, before we even left the house, figured out if I'm on all fours, it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
It was uncomfortable before I got on all fours, and I would just, breathe through them. And then I figured out, it was a lot easier on all fours.
And did you discover that with your second?
With the second, yeah.
Okay, so that really helps. Because with your first, you were like, I'm struggling, couldn't quite find your rhythm. With this one, did it happen a lot easier once you figured that out?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. It's so good. Like, when women find that rhythm, it's like everything just happens smoothly, and we're not fighting it. We're not fighting our bodies. Like, everything can just open.
Yeah.
So, this one you said was much faster. What happened after your water broke and you're on your all fours, hands and knees, on the bed? Do you go to the hospital immediately?
Things were ramping up. We had to wait for my mom to come. We also waited for my sister to come because she wanted to be there to watch my first.
Yeah.
So they got there, and we went to the hospital and got there just in time. We were checking it. Oh, and on the way, I couldn't be on all fours. So on the way there, I was breathing through them, and I started feeling Jesus' hands on my belly.
On the way to the hospital?
On the way to the hospital.
You felt his hands on your belly?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Because that was probably more uncomfortable because you couldn't be on your hands and knees.
Yeah. So, going over bumps in the car that was a little rough, but his hands were here, and he would sometimes rub my belly.
What was that like? You said you could feel it, like pressure?
Yeah. Supernaturally, I could feel pressure, not in a bad way. It was just
it was
comforting.
Helping you.
Yeah.
Could you see him, or you just knew he was there?
I didn't see him, but I knew he was there. I felt him.
You felt his presence. That's beautiful.
Wow. I loved it. Yeah. It was so gracious.
So that must have really reassured your heart.
Yes.
He's right there with you in labor. That's amazing. So what happened when you got to the hospital?
We went to the check-in desk, and they have you fill out a million papers. So I would sign papers. I would need to take a break. Hold on a second. And get down on all fours, and still
at the reception desk.
Yes, at the desk. So get down, disappear behind the desk, and I would feel his hands still on my belly, and I'd get back up, use the hand sanitizer, and sign some more. And my husband he started taking over signing papers for me, and he said to the lady, "She's really in late. She's got to go back there.
Let's get on with this."
And then she came around the desk and saw me on the floor. It was 3 times I had gotten on the floor. She came around and saw me, and she's like, "Oh, honey, we got to get you back there."
Enough with this nonsense.
Yeah.
All that paper signing. It's so annoying. We got a job to do. Let us do our thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, she took you seriously then. Then they got you in your room. What happened next?
Then I just got up on the bed, and I held on to the back of the bed like this.
Okay.
And I had Jesus.
So they lifted the bed up
Yep.
for you, and you were on your hands and knees on the bed,
Yep.
like leaning over the back of the bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that felt nice.
Now, did they tell you to do that, or did you just instinctively know to get into that position?
I just did that because I knew that all fours was comfortable.
Yeah.
So I figured I might as well stay on my knees. So.
And it's soft and comfy on the bed. So if they want you in the bed, you can get in the bed, but why not get in hands and knees? I love it. So that worked, and your providers, they were like good with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what was that like? Like, how did you experience that?
My husband was here at the head of the bed with me, and then Jesus was here, and I could actually see him, and they both had this same proud smile on their faces and just so excited. And I would sometimes put my head down and come back up and look at the smiles again, and encouraging words from my husband, and it was just so nice.
Wow.
I think that might be my favorite labor and delivery stories, because I got to see Jesus' face as she was being born.
Oh, wow. The whole time.
Yeah, he was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, and just that, I can only imagine like that look of how proud he is. That must have like filled your heart with so many good emotions.
Yes.
Like, yeah, okay, I can do this. Like, he's so proud of me. Because so often I hear women say like, I don't know if I can do this. Am I doing it right? And here you had like Jesus going, I'm so proud of you. Like, that doubt must have not even been there.
No, I had no doubts. Yeah. One of the hospital staff, they were rushing around. Like, I'm so at peace with this. Like, I know my body is working super hard, but mentally I'm totally at peace with this. But the hospital staff, at one point, one of the girls said, okay, you're going to feel the ring of fire now. And then I felt it. And I actually, because she said that, I acknowledged the ring of fire. They say that it's painful. And I was like, ooh, it's kind of burning. Ooh. And then I made the decision, okay, don't focus on that. Focus on what you have in front of you and what is happening.
Did that take this?
That helped.
So you didn't feel it much after not focusing on it? Isn't that amazing? Like the power of suggestion. Like, oh, it's going to get worse. Oh, you're going to feel a lot of pain. Oh, you're going to feel the ring of fire. It's going to be really hard pushing.
Yep.
Like all those suggestions like create this expectation that then happens.
Yes.
And as soon as you stopped focusing on it and focused on Jesus, the pain went away. Wow. It's an amazing principle. So what was the birth like when she came out?
When she came out,
or how long were you pushing? I didn't even ask.
About 20 minutes. So we got there just in time to get on the bed and blast her out.
So she came pretty soon after you got to the hospital.
Yep.
And that's a huge difference from your first, where you were pushing for 2.5 hours. So what was pushing like in the hands and knees position?
It was good. I still enjoyed it. It feels like just,
Was it easier than your first?
Yes.
So because you were on your back with your first.
I did different things.
Or like side, right?
No, I didn't do side. I tried the bar.
Okay.
For quite a while. That wasn't working. I think they actually had me turn around on my hands and knees, and that still wasn't, things weren't progressing. Like, he was just slow coming out.
Yeah, he might have been in a weird position. So this one, though, 20 minutes on your hands and knees, you got gravity helping you. What did pushing feel like?
Feels like just going with the current. Kind of just working with what your body's already doing and making the choice to assist your body in doing what it's doing.
So did you actively push? Like when you felt the urge to push, or were they telling you when?
When I felt it. I just followed my body's cues. When I felt the urge, then I would push.
Okay.
They were also telling me, but I wasn't really listening.
You were listening. Did they have to like check you to be like, okay, you're 10 centimeters, you can push now?
They did check me when I first got there.
Okay.
But I was telling them, I'm already feeling the urge to push. So
were you fully dilated?
I think they said 9
Yeah.
centimeters. But my body was saying push. So,
so you just did.
Yeah.
It was probably happening pretty fast with this one, because you said it was only like, how many hours were you in labor?
2.5.
2.5 hours from
start to finish.
Start to finish, because your water breaks at 11:58. Contractions immediately after that, and 2.5 hours later she's born. That's a very fast labor.
Yeah.
Was that intense?
It was, but I didn't mind it.
Wow.
Like, it was a happy, exciting, like, I knew everything was healthy, everybody was fine, and
Yeah. So did the contractions hurt at any point?
no.
Wow. Even like the pushing ones, it was just like intense. That's amazing. So you pushed her out in the hands and knees position on the bed. And then what happens next? Like, did they hand her to you?
They caught her, and then I think I don't remember, I somehow had to turn around. They cut the cord, and then
Did they go like through your legs maybe?
No, not that time.
Okay. So they cut the cord, then probably moved,
Yeah,
brought
then I
her
turned
around. Okay. What did you feel like after this birth?
Great. Like, there's the tiredness, but after doing so much physical hard work, it's like exercise. I feel really...
It's like an endorphin rush.
Yeah. I feel really good afterward.
Yeah. Were you like surprised by yourself, by how different it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was very pleased.
Like, that was way better.
Well, because going into it, I didn't know, like, does my body even know how to start labor naturally? I was induced with the first.
Yeah.
So I was a little worried about that, and I was really, really surprised.
Like how fast it went?
Yeah, and how it just, like, boom, started on its own, and it was done in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So.
What would you say to, like, other moms who are believing for a pain-free birth and, like, walking through those doubts or fears or, all that stuff? Like, what would you say to them?
So a couple of things. One thing is, a lot of moms, I don't know why, but a lot of moms, when they find out somebody is pregnant, they all of a sudden want to share their horrific stories.
Yeah.
Like what the worst thing that happened to them when they were in labor, or somebody they knew had something terrible happen. And just don't.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that, and don't listen. Yeah, because their story is not yours.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, one thing I wish that I had done is practiced getting into the Jesus zone, I call it, or the Jesus place. It's like meditation. You practice going to that safe place where you're really in touch with God, and you can feel everything that He's trying to communicate to you. And the more that you practice that, the easier it'll be during labor and delivery when crazy stuff is happening to do the same thing. Yeah.
It's like an anchor. Like it anchors you down, keeps you grounded. And you know how to go there because you've practiced it. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.